Hello, 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 my little maniacs. This is your host, the Maniacs Gaming, coming back at you with another video. In today's video, we are doing a preview for the Buccaneers Falcons game today. Let's get it. So this game will be played at 1 o'clock today in Atlanta at the Falcons Stadium. Last week review is the first week of the season. Football is back, baby. Yeah, there's no last week review. That there was no games, so there'd be impossible to do a last week review. All right, so we're as you guys remember, we're gonna go over injuries. This is the first one of the season, so let me know if you guys think there's anything that I should add for next week's video. But anyway, so for the Buccaneers, Wirfs is out. He is dealing with a knee injury that was discovered during the offseason. Godwin is out. He is still dealing with an ankle injury. Vita Vea is questionable, but I believe they are leaning on him playing today, and he's just potentially going to be on a snap count. McMillan was put on IR due to his injury sustained in the preseason. Izzy is out. From what I understood, they're just holding him out of precaution versus anything else. If it was like a do or die game, he would be playing. And then same with Benjamin Morrison. He just hasn't been able to learn much of the playbook as he's just missed practicing due to injury. But he's completely healthy. It's just, again, just holding him out because he doesn't know the playbook. As for the Falcons, Darnell Mooney is questionable for this game, but as far as I know, he is expected to play. I have not heard otherwise. We'll have to see what happens there. And then Caleb McGarry was put on IR. He is done for the season. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember what his injury was, but he is out for the year. He will not be playing. So that is going to be two big holes on both sides of O-lines for this game. Offenses. Usually this is where I do a recap of last week, but obviously there's nothing, so I'm just going to ask some general questions, point out a couple things, and then we'll talk more about it. So, can the offense pick up where they left off for the Bucs? How will the O-line adjust without Wirfs? Emeka usage early. And then for the Falcons, I'm just going to ask general questions about Penix, Pitts, and the wide receivers. So for the Bucs side, obviously, can the offense pick up where they left off? Obviously, we lost Liam Cohen. We replaced him with Josh Grizzard, who was our third down play caller last year, so he is expected to do pretty well. We'll have to see. His offense during the preseason was pretty good, but again, we'll have to see how it does against actual offensive, like actual defenders that are going to be playing every down. So we'll have to see about how that goes. How will the O line adjust without Wirfs? We're going to be starting, I believe it's Charlie Heck at left tackle today. So we're going to see how the O line is going to adjust without him, how we are going to be performing with that change, whether we're going to be calling extra protection on that side, using the running backs to our advantage there, or if we're going to be running more to the right side and preferring that right side of the O-line. We are going to have to see how that's going to go and how this Bucs O-line is going to look without Wirfs anchor in that left tackle spot. And then Emeka, how are we going to be using Emeka? Obviously, our first round pick. No Godwin, no McMillan, so he is right now wide receiver 2 on the offense. We're going to see how he gets used in this game. I expect us to get a good, healthy amount of him because, again, we're going to want to keep Mike healthy. We're going to keep Mike fresh. It's early in the season, so I'm expecting Emeka to get a lot of looks here. I wouldn't be surprised if Emeka gets like 60, 70 yards this game. I think he's going to get a lot of looks and potentially his first NFL regular season touchdown. I'm going to keep the expectations low because, again, it's his first actual NFL game, like his first start. So I'll have to see what happens there. As for the Falcons side, Penix, I want to see how he does against this Bucs defense because last year he was lighting it up against some pretty good defenses last season, especially that Commanders defense that surprised a lot of people. So I want to see how Penix does against the Bucs defense, especially against our CBs and our secondary. If our secondary is healthy, they can be pretty good. I want to see how he finds the matchups there, as well as against our linebacking core. I want to really see how Penix can do, and that is going to be a big question mark of this game. And then Kyle Pitts, he had a pretty good. He always usually does pretty well against Tampa. I want to see how not only he's going to be utilized in this game, but also on the Bucs side, how we are going to limit him and make it so that he is less effective. And then wide receivers, obviously, wide receivers for Falcons always have a field day against Tampa because of our defense. I want to see how they adjust and see if the Falcons keep up that momentum on the offensive side with the wide receivers, as well as how the Tampa Bay defense is going to adjust to keep the wide receivers in check. As for defense, Buccaneers DBs are always going to be a question mark because Jamel Dean exists, but I also want to see how our rookies play because we got a couple rookies on the defensive side of the ball that are going to be playing. So I kind of want to see how that goes, especially especially in conjunction with the linebackers, because we have a couple rookies or basically rookies such as Servaca Dennis that did not play much last year. So I want to see how they're gonna do, as well as just seeing the ageless wonder in Levante David. And then the Buccaneers pass rush, obviously that was a big part of our offseason was getting some pass rushers. And of course Hassan Reddick being the big one that we got. And of course we got a couple of rookies that unfortunately got injured. So I want to see how Hassan Reddick fits in the defense, as well as I want to see if Yaya can step up, as well as Kalijah Cansey, and see how much we utilize Vita Vea where he was injured this week. As for the Falcons, I want to see how that D line goes against the Bucs offensive line and see how much pressure they can get. Of course, they got two rookies on that D line slash linebackers, but I also want to see how their DBs keeps up with the Bucs air happy offense. And I want to see how their linebackers will do against K. Dotton, who's been a gem for Tampa when he can catch the ball, as well as helping stop the run that we're gonna have with Bucky and Rashad. Now here are the big question marks that I'm gonna have. Obviously, the Buccaneers. It's gonna both sides honestly is O line. Obviously, there's both injuries on the both sides of the O lines. I want to see how the O lines develop and how they can be able to do that. Obviously, the Bucs had a bigger head start to get some potential replacement for Wirfs, whereas the Falcons had less time. But we're gonna have to see how those do, as well as how they develop, and as well as how well they can protect their quarterback, and as well keep the backfield clear. Then for the Bucs DB coverage, this has always been an issue for Tampa, especially when we play the Falcons. We're playing so far off the line of scrimmage that we're giving them easy throws, short throws. It's just something we always do. So I want to see how the DBs play, especially our rookies. I want to see how they're going to do today, and just see if we can actually, make a difference. As for the pass rush, I want to see how that pass rush does. I've said it so many times. It's a big question mark is our pass rush, and I want to see if our pass rush can actually get to an early start and be able to try to take some momentum away from the Falcons early. As for the Falcons, again, I already talked about it, but Penix is going to be a big question mark. We have not seen him go up against the Bucs and Todd Bowles' blitz-happy defense. I want to see how he performs against it. I think Penix can be a decent quarterback. I want to see how he does against the Bucs blitz-happy defense, especially with limited tape on him. Falcons O-line, again, I want to see how it's going to play, how they're going to adjust to losing their right tackle. And then the DBs versus the Bucs receiver. I just want to see that matchup because that's going to be a big matchup. AJ Terrell versus Mike Evans is always a show. Always. They have one of the best rivalries right now in the NFC South after Marshawn Lattimore left the division. So obviously AJ Terrell versus Mike Evans is the next one. I also want to see how the DBs try to cover Emeka and whatnot. So that's going to be a big question mark there. Now the keys for both sides. For the Buccaneers, it's going to be feed Mike and Emeka, feed Bucky and Rashad, and then keep time of possession. All these are going to be big factors because, again, Mike is going to be number one wide receiver. Emeka is going to be the wide receiver, too. When we're going to need the chunk plays, we're going to go to Mike. We're going to get Emeka some looks, but we're also going to need Bucky and Rashad for the short game. Rashad's mostly here for the pass protection that he's going to provide because he's a little bit of a better pass protector than Bucky. So, again, look up for more of a Rashad on the third and long situations where we need to keep Baker upright to find someone downfield. And then just keep time of possession. Again, we want to drain the clock as much as we can. We're going to want to keep the Falcons off the field, and we're going to want to give time for our defense to rest, especially where we dealt with so many defensive injuries last year. Be able to keep the time of possession, keep the defense off the field so they can get breathers in, get some rest in, so they can recover and then come back stronger. As for the Falcons side, think the big keys for them are to contain Mike and Emeka to an extent. Again, we don't know how much Emeka is going to be used, but the Mike is a big factor in this game. They want to contain Mike and make sure that he's not going to be beating them over the top. And I think the Falcons are going to lean a little bit more on the short game. They're going to hit some slants, hit some screen passes, lean on Bijan a little bit. I think that's going to be the big keys for them is just to lean on the short game and just keep the chains moving and prevent the Bucs from being able to get their explosive offense on the field. And I think the Falcons are going to need to take advantage of the O-line and put some pressure on Baker. That is going to be a big key for them is put pressure on Baker, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, and make it so that he's going to make a mistake, whether it's an interception or take a bad sack, just to keep the Falcons in the game. Now, players to watch today for the Bucs. I got Mike, I got Bucky, I got Emeka. Another one, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Charlie Heck. Again, I want to see how he performs at the left tackle. But Mike, obviously, is going to always be a watch. Mike versus AJ Terrell is going to be a masterpiece. Bucky, I want to see how he does as the official RB1, how he's going to build off of his rookie year and see how well he can do. Then for the last one, Emeka, I want to see how much we're going to utilize the first-round rookie, see how he's going to be looking with a potential starting role in this offense. Well, of course, he is the starting in the offense right now, but I want to see how he does with that role. As for the Falcons, players to watch again, Penix, the DBs, and the wide receivers. I've mentioned it so many times, but I want to see how Penix does against this blitz-happy defense the Bucs have. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with it, but I think that's going to be the most interesting thing. As for the DBs, I want to see how they're going to perform against Mike and Emeka, how they're going to shift their coverage to be able to focus throughout the game and keep both of them in check. I want to see how their wide receiving core does. Again, I mentioned it, but their wide receivers always seem to eat against Tampa Bay defense. So I want to see how their wide receivers are going to scheme, what their routes are going to be, stuff like that, just to be able to get open and against this blitz happy defense that the Bucs love to run. And then for both sides, I got both O lines versus the opposing D line and both wide receivers versus the opposing DBs. Again, both O lines versus the opposing D line is going to be a big factor this game, simply because of the fact that there's injuries on both sides of the O lines that are going to be massive. Worst being out, McGarry being out, like there are going to be some big keys to that O lines that are missing. I want to see how the not only the O lines scheme up protections to mask that injury, but also how the D lines are going to take advantage of that mismatch. And then wide receivers versus opposing DBs. Again, this is always going to be a matchup that we're going to want to see. Bucs got an explosive, high flying offense. They love to use. They love to throw. I want to see how the Falcons defense can counteract that. But then, for the opposing for the Falcons side, their wide receivers always seem to eat against Tampa, so I want to see how they do and how Tampa's defense will recover from it. My content today, I will be streaming the Bucs Falcons game at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Rain or shine, no matter what, I will be streaming. If somehow the stream goes down, I will immediately get it back up as soon as I possibly can. So please make sure to tune into that and be ready. It is the first game of the season. Let's go. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that noti bell. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, trying to hit that by the end of the year, trying to hit 1,700 before the Buffalo trip. Let's get it, fam, and as always, I will see all you guys later. Stay crazy, fam.